What's up, guys? Welcome to the Just Friends Chatting podcast. This is the first take. We're good at this. I promise. We're trained professionals.
You're kidding.
Is it bad? It's bad, isn't it?
Keep, keep. Oh no! Oh, hold on. Keep speaking. Say a
Speaking.
long sentence.
I like peanut butter because it's peanut butter.
Okay, it's actually not that bad.
Is it manageable?
It's manageable. Yes.
Okay. I'm keeping that in. Uh,
Okay.
so,
So
welcome.
fun little. Fun little
Yeah, no, we're trained.
welcome to.
Yeah. Welcome to this. We're
Welcome to technical difficulties.
Yeah, welcome to this podcast. um, it's been a couple weeks. If that's not blatantly obvious, we did take a 2 week
Yeah.
hiatus, only temporarily, and I think that's where we'll briefly start this episode. Well, technically, it doesn't even have to be brief. How has your life been recently? And that can give part of the reason of why we've been gone.
Um. Well, I'm not gonna lie. My life hasn't been the greatest recently. um.
And that's so
I
fair.
got. I got pretty sick for a bit, and I'm still kind of sick, but much better than I was.
Yeah. This man is a trooper. We're recording
You,
today. This man is a trooper. You folks at home don't understand. This man's a trooper. He literally has been sick for like 2.5 weeks now. It's not a
yeah.
joke.
So I got sick the Thursday before last Thursday. Maybe it was like the 15th or something. I don't know. It,
Oh
it
yeah,
was not. It was not fun.
and
And I've
tomorrow's
had
Thursday.
this. And tomorrow is Thursday. Yeah, and I've had this stupid cough ever since that you're
Wow,
going to hear.
wow. Yeah, no, this man's a trooper.
It's wonderful and I love it. But
Yeah, and so
we're here now,
yeah, and so because obviously if he's sick,
and
I'm
it's
not.
gonna be great.
Yeah, obviously, if this man's sick, I'm not gonna make him record. Well, health is first and foremost, of course. But if you're not aware, a little thing happened. Um, and I was at that little thing,
I
and that would explain why we were not here the last week. I went on a senior trip to Washington D.C. and
you did.
I did, and I literally have not told my amazing co-host Kylan a single story because I've been saving it for this episode. And I'm pretty sure you can set it that where I've told you like the briefest details I possibly could. Um, but I am very excited to get it.
Yeah, I've been super eager to hear about it ever since.
Yeah. This is a two-person podcast, so I'm gonna try not to talk too long because no one wants to hear just my voice. That's not what this is about, of course. But no, I will start with. Let me bear with me. Where did I put it? Bruh. I see. Planning is first and foremost. We had a schedule. I was gonna go based off the schedule. I can get it on my phone. Bear with me. If you're wondering what I spend my pocket money on, well, it's pretty simple. I spend it on V-Bucks and vapes. Um. Anyway, bear with me. Here we are. I'm a trained professional. If you guys can't tell. Okay, so the first day, right? We show up to the location of which we ate food at 6:30 in the morning. And everyone was there, besides two people. that I knew for a fact they said they were going, literally the night before. But I got there at around 6:30, and about 15 minutes went by, and they weren't there. And I'll use simple code names that I think would pretty much give you the idea of who I am talking about, and that would be M and C. I'll send you a picture of which that they are in, and then you'll know. Cause I don't want to
I
like
know.
what?
I know.
Oh, you know.
I know. I know.
Um.
I know.
Anyway. Oh yeah. So you do know. They told me for a fact. Okay, we're gonna be there. I was like, awesome. Cause a lot of my closer friends, including yourself, were not going, so I was a little lenient on the whole situation. And so 15 minutes goes by and they're not there. So it's like 6:45. Okay, that's still fine because we're supposed to get on the bus by 7 because we're leaving at 7:15. Everything's supposed to be on there. We're supposed to be ready to go by 7:15. Well, 6:54 comes around and they come crawling out of their cave from Gotham. And I'm like, okay, where have y'all like been? Cause you were supposed to be here like 20 minutes ago. And they're like, oh yeah, so M's car broke down on the way. And they had to,
What?
yeah, they had to get a ride to the place of which we ate breakfast. It's so
That
that
is unfortunate.
yeah, so that was the first thing that happened in our journey of the senior trip. And then pretty much, we got on the bus as we left. Yeah, we took like a 45 minutes in. We took like a brief break because everyone drank, drank a severe amount of coffee that probably will give them diabetes at the age of 25. But basically, we had to take a break because everyone chugged coffee. You understand. After that, we got to Gettysburg. Super late. I mean, an hour and a half late. um,
Oh,
and so we're supposed to be
oh
leaving.
dear.
We're supposed to be leaving Gettysburg at 2 p.m. and we have like an hour and a half of things in Gettysburg, and it's almost 1 o'clock when we get there. Um, and so we get into this visitor center and we watch this, 30-minute movie with Morgan Freeman's narration, which that man is just every narrator thinkable. Um, and then we go explore this museum. And while we're exploring this museum, the group of which I'm hanging out with, consisting of M and K, they're not really there, like honestly, to explore this museum in detail. If you get what I'm saying, they're like, okay, we're gonna look at three things and then we're gonna go home or get on the bus, basically. And we're running through this museum, dog. I mean, full bore. And we're talking while I'm running through this museum because we're talking about what we're supposed to be doing later that day, which was get to DC, visit a couple memorials, then go to the Pentagon Mall to eat dinner. Well, yeah. And because I'm running through a museum at Gettysburg and I'm trying to talk while running, I accidentally said Pentagon. I didn't hear the end of that for the rest of the trip. Um,
Oh man.
so that was fun. Then the whole Gettysburg thing gets wrapped up. We go visit little round top. We see some great sights, and then we jump on the bus. Yeah, we get to DC an hour and a half late. See, it was
Oh no.
uh, um, and so we're at the FDR and the MLK memorials. The good part is that they have lights, but we literally were showing up there in the dark pretty much. Um,
Wow.
yeah. which it's getting dark so early now, and it's very depressing, and I don't like it.
Yeah, I hate it.
Yeah, it's awful. But nevertheless, we go to the FDR and the MOK. I have an amazing picture. If you follow my Instagram, it's on my Instagram in a recent post of our other friend, Mr. J himself, posed in front of MLK. Great picture, great time. Um, then we went to the 9/11 Pentagon Memorial, which I'm kind of glad we went to when it was dark because, well, it's not really a fun fact, but it is a fact. 184 people died on both the plane and in the Pentagon on September 11th, 2001. Each one of those each one of those individuals have their own bench at this memorial. It's really nice. I recommend y'all go check it out for yourself. It's great. And they're all lit up and there's water and it's a surreal experience when you're there just understanding the significance of what happened. Yeah. Um and so we finish up there and we get to the mall and we eat food and it's a pretty normal night from there on out. And then after we eat food, we go to one of the most famous memorials in the world. And that's the Lincoln Memorial. I'm telling you guys that you have to go see the Lincoln Memorial in your lifetime. You have to. It's amazing. When you're standing right in front of it, you officially understand why people always talk about it. It is 40 feet tall.
Man.
Yeah. There is engravings of text on each side inside the memorial itself. There is the statue itself, but it's inside this big memorial. If you've been there, you understand. There's
Hmm.
engravings on the wall, and on when you're walking in, if you're facing that way, when you're walking in on the right side, on one, I think it's the second paragraph. There's literally a typo.
Oh,
There's a genuine typo.
that's crazy.
Yeah.
Also, look,
That's
diamonds.
amazing. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. That's my bad. I'm gonna get away before I take those from you. No, drop the diamond. No.
Oh god, I interrupted this story.
No, you're
Oh my goodness. This Oh man. You might have to like move after you throw it. Okay, there we go. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, Lincoln is just a
Awesome.
surreal experience as well. I'm gonna break the, but yeah, I'm gonna break. I'm gonna
Hold on.
break.
Just let me
Oh,
put a block in front of you. There you go.
okay. And that's basically the end of our night. You know, we saw some memorials, whatever. We get back. What am I missing? Oh, it's Google. Um, we get back to the hotel at like 9:30 at night. By the way, which is a recurring trend, and we'll talk about it. Day two was much different than day one because we woke up. By the way they woke us up, they had a very specific time for each day for when we had to wake up based on the schedule for that day. Well, day two was the earliest one, being 6 a.m. I don't have a problem with waking up at that early because that's what I do every day anyway. Um, but they woke us up at 6 a.m. via the phone in the hotel room, which is
Oh,
cranked, which is cranked to a volume that I'm pretty sure that would make any grandma go deaf.
oh, jeez.
Um, it rings and you about have a heart attack. Like I literally threw myself out of bed every morning because of how loud it was.
Wow.
It's genuinely one of the loudest things I think I've ever heard in my life. Like, and you don't understand unless it's happening to you. Well, that morning We briefly talked about it on the bus before we got off that night, and that is that there's like a pretty much kind of a shopping plaza right across the road from the hotel, and our amazing, amazing teacher, Mr. B, he's genuinely a goat. He's one of the best that I think I've ever had, and the trip just accelerated that feeling of him being a goat teacher. Um, he said, as long as we get back in a certain amount of time in the hotel at night or in the morning, as long as we have enough time, we are more than welcome to go look at these shops and go shop across the road. And so me and C, I pretty much had to beg C to come with me, but I needed a partner, and so I pretty much didn't have a choice. And so we ran over to Target, right? And I didn't look at what time that it closed. We got over at Target at 6:48 in the morning, and it didn't open till 7.
What?
Yeah, and so we ran back because we simply didn't have the time to wait, and we jumped in the car or in the bus, and we went to the Arlington National Cemetery, which is one of the most famous cemeteries in the world, for good reason. One of which being the fact that JFK's grave, the internal flame, that whole ordeal is there. His brother, Robert Francis Kennedy, is also buried there. Um, and of course, the most notable thing being the tomb of the unknown soldier is there. And we get there and we have some time to walk around, but we had to be up to the tomb of the unknown soldier at a very specific time to see the changing of the guards, which I briefly have heard about in my lifetime. I just know that obviously you're supposed to be quiet, stand up, be respectful. Um, and we get up there, and all we see at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier is this guy just pacing back and forth. And he's on a carpet, but you also notice that in the nearby lanes on the concrete, there's literal, and this is concrete, there's literal marks from how much they walked there on the
Wow.
concrete. Yeah, because they're only allowed to walk in these very certain spots. So we get there, and a few minutes go by. And first of all, let me preface this as well. I'm very much a hat wearer. Kylan, you yourself know this. There's usually
Yes.
very rare moments where you don't see me without a hat. I'm always wearing a hat. If you watch my reviews on YouTube, if you watch my videos, 90% of them I'm wearing a hat. Just FYI. Well, there's this whole different school there from Watkins, or not from Watkins, from Washington. My bad. Um, and so you would figure if they're from Watkins, they know how this whole place works, right? Like general basis, general respect. You know what I mean, right?
hmm
Well, they're there. They're not dressed up, sitting down, wearing hats. It's just a little bit upsetting because it's just like, can't you read the
Yeah.
room? Can't you?
Yeah. That's.
Um,
Uh.
but when the ceremony started, and again, I didn't know much about the ceremony before seeing it myself. This guy comes out, walks in this very specific line, stops right in the middle of the stair. There's two halves of a staircase where people can sit or stand. It's mostly for standing people. It's a staircase because you can walk up a staircase. Yeah. Um. And so he stops right in the middle, and he says, "Ladies and gentlemen, dude, I about had a heart attack." I was like, "Oh, they talk." I'm like, I didn't know that you talked. I thought that you weren't allowed to do that. and he starts giving us the speech about the changing of or the changing of the guards, and then they do it, and it's just a surreal ceremony where like everyone looks the same. There's not two men there that look different because there's these
Wow.
these certain requirements that they have to do, and having to shave their head and everything, and it's just really wild to watch. I can't thank them enough for what they do. Ah ha 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 ha. Um. Anyway. Um. Yeah. And after that, we kind of explored the cemetery a little bit because it's a very much military-centered cemetery, and there's a funeral going on. And I've been to a military funeral before. I understand, but just hearing the music and hearing the gunshots again, it just puts you back in your seat for a minute when you kind of ignore everything else in the world, even the things that may be important to you. You just sit there and you realize that person served at some point to try to protect our country, and you just got to sit there and be gracious about the whole situation, and you are. But afterwards, when we're walking back, Mr. C, or C, if you will, decides, okay, I'm bored, and he starts telling a bunch of dad jokes.
Oh
In
dear.
particular, he was talking about John Fitzgerald Kennedy, our like 30th president or whatever he was. No disrespect, I simply don't know. He says because there's an internal flame for this guy. He says that flame is pretty lit. I had to just stop there and be like, this guy's for real. And there's so many airplanes flying in Washington, which makes sense because it is a city. But there's like 200 airplanes a day, and
Wow.
yeah. And there was, of course, an airplane going ahead when we were walking back to the bus, and he's like, "That airplane is so fly."
Dude.
I about died. I literally, I, I,
So
I,
dumb.
I literally just wanted to kneel down on the pavement and croak in that moment. I really did. What a guy, though. And so yeah, where was I? Okay, cemetery, and we finish up at the cemetery, and then we go to the National Cathedral,
Ooh.
which is significant to this story of which I am telling for one very specific reason. There is a friend of ours um, that has had a very large past with us, that are one of us at least, and the whole time when we're on this trip that he has been talking about for months, by the way. The main thing he's been talking about for this trip, given the fact that he is very much a Catholic individual, is this cathedral. Trust me, and I'm sure you can vouch for this, we've heard about it for the past like 3 months.
Oh yeah.
And that's no knack to him, or is it? Um, he's bound to listen to this, and I can't wait to hear what he says. And so we're arriving there, and I can just see the pure, uninterrupted joy on this man's face. Like, if you think that you were excited as a kid for Christmas Day, you are sorely wrong. Because this friend of ours at the National Cathedral easily beat your excitement as a kid on Christmas Day. He was just looking forward to this that much that he was more excited than a kid in a candy shop or a kid on Christmas Day for a cathedral. We get into this cathedral, or we're like right outside of it. It's like a 400. Okay, well I don't want to speak out of my rear, and bear with me. How tall is the National Cathedral? Okay, well, it is 676 feet tall.
Holy moly.
It's a big old beast, and you're standing right outside of it, and I'm just looking at him with a smile from. It's not even ear to ear. I mean, his smile is literally connecting to another person, I'm pretty sure, in this moment. And I walked up to him, and I jokingly said, "Do you have a boner right now?" He did not appreciate that at all. Because he looked me square in the face, that smile disappeared, and he said, "We are on holy ground. You don't talk like that." I was like, "Okay, well, this conversation is done, and I will back away from this man." And I did. And so I started to hanging out with the other people that weren't so serious about the situation. While I'm at this topic, I briefly, and I'm sorry that I am talking so much. I do truly
It's
apologize.
okay.
Um, I recently, this is kind of adjacent to the topic that I'm currently on. I recently watched Concave. Go watch my review if you want deeper details. But great movie, by the way, and I truly hope it gets nominated for Best Picture, and it's definitely looking like it's going to. I recently talked to this man about Concave, as I think you know. It did not go over well, um, at all.
Yep.
Here's the thing: Concave does go over some like rather different topics. If I will say, um, okay. Do you care if I briefly talk about spoilers for the movie?
No, go for it.
I'm prefacing. I'm briefly talking about spoilers. Okay, if you want to see Concave, probably skip like a minute or two ahead. It's fine. I understand. It's a great movie. Just go check it out for yourself. Watch my review. You'll understand. At the end of the movie, there is a massive twist involving the person who does get elected pope having been born with a vagina. And the fact that he was supposed to have a hysterectomy and didn't. I'm not Catholic, so I don't quite understand, but apparently that is just the biggest mockery to the Catholic Church as possible. I don't get it. If that's how he was born, then I don't quite understand.
Yeah.
Um, People are born like that. That's just how it be. Like, and don't get me wrong, I'm not here to get political, but there is definitely one way I swing more than the other, and I do occasionally listen to Ben Shapiro, and he made an episode about Concave and how it's just a massive disgrace and it's horrible and it's mockery, and he said it was because of the ending. I'm like, aren't people born like that? Am I lost? Am I understanding the wrong thing here? I don't quite understand what's a huge mockery here. Do you understand? Is there something that I've missed? I don't know if
I don't know.
is it can. Uh, he's not a female, technically, is he not? I mean, is he not a man? I don't. Okay. Like, I don't want to like speak out of my ground here because I don't know terms, but I don't know. Anyway, I'll get back to the main story here. Sorry for the rabbit trail. After the National Cathedral, which our friend thoroughly enjoyed, like there was a person giving us a tour guide. He was like, I don't even think he was half an inch from this guy at all times. I'm like, dude, let this guy breathe. Like, please. And so then we go to this plaza to eat food, which I didn't eat food at that moment because everything was so expensive. And this is before the vouchers kicked in. And afterwards, the Spy Museum was within walking distance, so we were just allowed to leave and then go out to the Spy Museum. And I'm walking with M, C, and J. And J, he is a very, very cool individual, and me and him have a lot in common. And he's very much into spy stuff, like James Bond. Which, not to get into details, it is pretty ironic how much he likes James Bond. If you know him, if you understand, you understand. But we did up to the Spy Museum, and you can see from the outside of it, we were supposed to just wait outside of the Spy Museum. He sees the James Bond car, like the Daniel Craig James Bond car, like it was in No Time to Die and whatnot. And he sees it, and if you thought that our friend at the National Cathedral was excitement, you are sorely mistaken. Because our other friend, seeing James Bond's car, dude, the excitement that he showed is just unspeakable. I can't put it into words.
Um,
Bas- he basically sees this car and has an orgasm. Um, and then, after a while, the teachers finally get along, and we go into the Spy Museum. And what I didn't know is, don't get me wrong, I like trying new things, but it was this interactive freaking spy journey thing while we're walking through a museum. I found it rather boring. Don't get me wrong, I like spy stuff. There was this whole video about Bin Laden and how we caught Bin Laden, and then we went to the botanical gardens, and it was just the most boring thing ever. I'm sorry, botanical gardens is just not my thing. It's a bunch of plants. I'm sorry. I get how someone could like it. I just don't like it. And then we ate dinner at the Union Station, and this is where our story gets more entertaining. Union Station is a train station, primarily. People go there, they buy a train ticket, and they go to Narnia, the La La Land. Doesn't matter. Inside this train station, there's a lot of different things, including Chick-fil-A, Subway, Taco Bell. There's a there's a Wegmans inside of this train station. Think about that for a second. A Wegmans. I don't know why. Or not a Wegmans. Walgreens.
Walgreens. Okay.
That makes a little more sense, but still, it's
Yeah.
um. And so we're as a group that I was hanging out with, we're like, okay, what do we go eat? And we were very specifically told, okay, groups of 3 at least, because Union Station is getting to the part of town where you don't want to just start lollygagging around. But two members of the group wanted Chick-fil-A, and two members wanted Taco Bell. I
Oh
want
dear.
I wanted Taco Bell. M wanted Taco Bell. C wanted or Chick-fil-A, and D, who I haven't mentioned yet, but I think is somewhat self-explanatory. If not, I can always. Anyway, D also wanted Chick-fil-A, and so we're in this group of four, and we're like, screw it. So M and myself go and get Taco Bell, and we're waiting for our Taco Bell. And the first thing we notice, and this is inside of a train station, inside a building. Like, this is a building. This isn't like what do you call it? This isn't a plaza. This is like inside of a building. It's like a mall for food. inside of a train station. That's basically what it is. There's a pigeon walking around while we're waiting for our food. There's just a straight up pigeon walking around. Kind of a
Hmm.
wild sight. I do have a picture of the pigeon, but that was the least of the weird things that would happen to us. But apparently, that's actually normal inside this train station for pigeons to just be flying and walking around. I didn't know that. I'm not a master at the Union Station. I don't work there. I don't know. So then we did our food, and C and D managed to find their way to us. Hi there, friend. Um, and we sit down.
I How did it get here? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I just followed pathways and then I found it. Um, and we're just eating our food and are visiting, and all of a sudden we notice someone starts walking up behind me, an older woman. And there was one thing that we were told very specifically also, and it wasn't out of disrespect, it was just out of objectivity and safety, pretty much, is
Mhm.
you're gonna see homeless people, ignore them. That's just ignore them. Basically, that's all you have to do. And so we're sitting there, and this older lady slowly walks up behind me and taps me on the shoulder, which about again gave me a heart attack because I didn't see it. And she begs us for money for food, which again I'm not opposed to doing so, but we were told specifically not to, and so then I didn't. Um, and eventually, after being ignored, again, it's not out of disrespect, it's out of what we were told to do. She walked away. Well, we thought we were done with that situation. We just get finishing up food. Who did I get a tap on from the shoulder again? The same lady, begging me for money, begging me for food. Again, I'm not against helping. We were just specifically told not to. So, ignoring, she walks away again. So we're like, okay, we're just trying to get away from this section of the station so we don't have to feel bad about what's happening. And so we do that. And in the midst of getting away, we meet up with another group and we decide, okay, we're just going to sit down and visit with them while we're waiting. Because our amazing bus driver, Bob, we don't want to rush him because he's genuinely an awesome human being. So we're just going to visit with these people. And we're like, oh, so this side of the Union Station is where you need to be because there's a bunch of security guards. There's literally 4 security guards on this side. There's 0 on the other side. That makes 0 sense to me. I don't understand. Well, an
Oh,
older gentleman walks up behind us. What does he do? Begs us for money and food. And so we decide, okay, we're just going to walk up to Bob and we're going to visit with Bob. Because, okay, we're like, if we're with Bob, we're fine, right? No, no. We get harassed again. Finally, Bob's like, hey, why do you guys want to go see the train? And because we're all children, which, trust me, we're all children, and we'll get more into that later. We go with Bob, and he's like, "You want to see a train?" And we're all like, "Yeah!" So we follow Bob into where the train is, and he shows us this train, and we're all in awe because we're country kids and we're all children, and it's a train. Don't judge me; it's a train. Um, it's cool. I'm sorry. It's a train. Um, and so when we're done with the train, Bob's like, "Okay, well we'll go get on the bus." And so we all get on the bus. Everyone gets on the bus. And another person, of which that we are friends are, and a code name A, and she is a female. And again, not making fun of her if she ever, for whatever reason, decides to listen to this. She is of a shorter height human being, and I'm sure by now you can start to figure out who I am talking about. Um, and she starts telling us a story which is jaw dropping. She tells a story that while she was in Union Station, she overheard people literally talking and making a plan to beat her up for money. That's a real thing that
Oh,
happened.
that's not good.
Yeah, they're like you. According to what she was saying, and she was like, yeah, she overheard them saying, yeah, you see that little white girl? Yeah, we're gonna go beat her up and take her money. And basically, when she realized that it was about her, is when other people came over and she told them, yeah, those guys are talking about some weird things. And they're like, she said that she heard those people be like, oh, she's on to us. We gotta get away from here. Dude, that's just a wild story. Like,
That is crazy.
yeah, no, you don't understand what happens in a city until you're in the city. It's a wild place. So basically, after food, we go to a play and we have a good night. And to
You're getting
base,
killed
I know, I'm
by
dying.
some. Okay. Do you want that to stop, or do you want it to keep happening?
um, I think I'm okay for right now. I have half a heart.
Okay.
I don't have any food. I'm gonna be real.
Here.
Thank you, friend. Um, and basically speed up the story. I'll skip to the more entertaining parts. The next day, at one point, we go to the Air and Flight Museum. And, the group that I'm hanging out with, being who they are, they don't really want to walk around and look at these things, even if it is cool or not. And they decide, once I get done, I was just going to look for them and I was just going to sit down with them while we were waiting. Well, they decided, okay, genius idea. Why don't we play hide and seek in the museum? So, after a series of phone calls and text and 45 minutes of searching for my friends, they finally just go out in the open and they're like, you are an idiot. Ha ha. It was a great time, if you can't tell. I loved it. It was a great museum, though. Um, um, yeah. So then later that night, we go and we have a play at the Kennedy Center. Um, we see Six, and Six is actually a great musical. Can't wait to actually see it get a theatrical release at some point, which I'm sure it will. Wicked did, so I'm sure Six will. Go watch Six. It's a great musical. Um, After the musical, we get back, and Mr. B is like, okay, we have some time. You're welcome to go over across the street. Just be back at this certain time. Well, if you didn't know, Target closes at 10 o'clock. Okay? We
Oh.
get we get back
Mm-hmm.
at 9:45 pretty much, and we have to get off the bus, go do a room check, then run across the road. We get to Target, and no joke, 7 or 9:53. We did all our stuff and we get out. They're literally shutting down as we're getting out.
Mm.
And so we took our time getting back, but despite us taking our time, there's like a 200 mile an hour tornado winds going on,
Oh shit.
and we're getting back to the crosswalk, and there's this tiny little trail that you have to follow to get to the crosswalk. Um, and when we get to
Mm-hmm.
this crosswalk, there's a curb. Well, it was in that moment that the wind decided, okay, see this guy, that being me, standing up? He should not be standing. That's bad. I get yeeted onto the ground by the wind. I mean, I full face first crash onto the sidewalk.
Oh no.
I have an indent in
That
my,
is
yeah. My
that is
glass
crazy.
my glasses went flying, my drinks went flying. It was a wild turn of events. So, again, just getting to the nitty gritty. The next day is pretty much normal, though there is one thing before the end of that day that I would like to touch on. Actually, two things. um, One being we eat at the Hard Rock Cafe. Very much fancy restaurant. We had a voucher. It was great food anyway. Well, we're sitting here, and I don't want to get too much into the drama that was going on the trip because it's really none of my business. But there was definitely some drama going on between individuals because of a relationship that people were in and things that may or may not have happened while we were riding on the bus. And if you put two and two together, it's kind of wild that that may actually have been happening. They're looking into it at the moment.
What?
Yeah, yeah. That's currently being looked into. But we were sitting at the
Oh
table
my
talking.
god.
And here's the thing: the laws in Virginia state you can be 16, and I'm not going to go into detail. Basically, you can be 16. That doesn't matter though, because technically you're on a school trip. And we're talking about this because what do you think high schoolers talk about? I'm sorry, I don't want to sugarcoat it. What do you think we're talking about? Like, come on now, get your head in the game. And they're like, oh yeah, wasn't there that one like court case? And this is not being disrespectful again. I couldn't remember the court case name. I knew there was a certain saying that went along with it, and I'm like, it's on the tip of my head. I know what it is, and it's very famous. I'm like, oh yeah, so they definitely can't do that on this trip. And I blurt out, is it blowjobs for Jesus? And they're like, no.
Oh my god.
And they're like,
Bong
bong,
hits for Jesus.
it's bong hits. And I'm like, oh, so it's definitely not what I was talking about. Though, what I was talking about was more on topic to what was happening. Um, and most basically we talk about that, and then we walk across the street to the Ford's Theater, which where Abraham Lincoln was shot. By the way, crazy, crazy. And we get to this theater, and those two individuals that we were talking about left at the beginning of the show as soon as the curtains closed. And so people were like, oh snap. and,
Oh my goodness.
and so they're left, and M and K, or M and C, being somewhat close to the one of the individuals involved. Do you have an idea of who I'm talking about, by the way? Do you
Dope.
um do you have an opportunity to check your Discord really quick?
Yes.
If I spelled one of these names wrong, that's my bad.
Ah,
Do you understand
okay.
who I'm talking about now?
I think so, yes.
Um. Anyway, they left during the show, and people were like, "Oh snap, dog!" So M and K being close to one of the individuals, kind of, they both go down. And I am so sorry that this Minecraft point of view of mine is going to be so boring this entire episode. I am deeply sorry, and I'm so sorry for talking so long. Um, yeah, no, I'm very sorry. I'll wrap up as soon as I can. But it turns out what was happening is that she was puking the entire show. And
Oh,
apparently she's been puking the entire week. I'm not
oh.
I'm not gonna make speculations. Use your own brain cells. Yeah. This generation, there's a very special place for us. You know, there's a very special place for us. Anyway, the next day is our last day, and we stop in Baltimore. We have a good time. Blah 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 blah. And we get home. We get home at 8:45. Okay, I have
Mhm.
booked tickets for a 10 o'clock showing of Gladiator 2. I am wonderful. I'm a wonderful idiot. Okay, I promise. Yeah. We get back to 8:45, and the theater that I'm going to is also half an hour away. Well, we fly to this theater and we watch the movie and we call it a night. I get home at 2 in the morning. So that was my senior trip. A lot of wild things happened. I learned a lot about
Wow,
people,
I'll say.
and I have an indent in my knee. So it was an interesting week. Um,
I got it. Oh my goodness. I still got it though, but I was not
um,
expecting another one.
I appreciate you. Let's talk about a topic that is more two person friendly. What is tomorrow?
Tomorrow is Thanksgiving.
Wahoo! What do people do on Thanksgiving, my friend?
They eat food.
That's true. So, if you will, what's the best Thanksgiving food?
Well, in my opinion, right? And I don't even know if everyone does this, but it's my favorite Thanksgiving food is always homemade mac and cheese. And you
I need
can be like,
I need to become part of your family. Um, I leave my family because homemade mac and cheese sounds amazing.
dude, it's so good. Oh
The
my god, it's so good.
dude, I love mac and cheese. Oh,
It's
whoa!
fine.
What just happened?
Creeper blew up. Don't worry about it.
Oh, wonderful! I love those guys. Mine is stuffing. Stuffing's great.
Stuffing. True.
Yeah. I have met people that genuinely don't like stuffing.
What?
I don't understand.
Okay, well, to be fair, I am kind of picky about it. Like, in my opinion, you can definitely mess it up.
Oh, you
But
can. You definitely can. And I like it more crunchy than I do like moist.
mm-hmm,
I'll eat it either way though. But crunchy is definitely better.
I agree.
Oh, great, baby zombie. Goodbye. Screw off,
Oh, I got a sword too. What is this?
dude. This is an unfair battle.
Here, let's sleep. Oh my god, they keep coming.
That's what she said.
The monster's nearby. We'll tell him to die.
um, but yeah.
Why is he in full iron armor? What?
Thanksgiving is
This-
great and all. Oh, sorry, not to interrupt you.
No, it's fine.
But there's one date in particular that is very much. Whoa, buddy, dude, can you calm down, please? That's not very nice. Can you stop?
The knock. He has a knockback though. What the heck?
I know. Wow, racism.
Hey, he's a painting.
I forgot that I had that. I picked it up randomly. I didn't steal it from you, I promise. I literally just picked it up randomly.
Oh my god, I want to die to this idiot.
Are you
That
good?
actually helps. So I'm not.
Whoa! Dude, chill.
Okay, he
Holy,
finally died.
holy crap, dude.
Moly.
What just happened, dude? That would that dude what? Oh yeah, you can have this. I keep accidentally picking it up. I'm really not meaning to. But yeah, no,
Ah,
Thanksgiving's
painting. Thank you.
Thanksgiving's good and all. But there's a couple dates nearby that bring me some not so good memories, and
Um,
it's part of life. But I still enjoy it because food is just my all-time weakness. I think. Obviously, if you know me, I'm like lard, so Thanksgiving I fit right in. How was your week? Since I wasn't here for like a week.
I'm
Well, you've been sick. We
I'm like
established that.
I've been sick. So like last week,
Yeah. What the?
so Monday I didn't come to school because I was sick still. Yay.
Yeah.
So like nothing happened that day. On Tuesday I went to toward a college, Alfred University,
That's cool.
which I did quite like actually. Um, I thought it was cool, and there's a chance that I go there, so that's cool.
Yeah, of course.
Wednesday I actually did go to school because I felt okay enough to do so. Um, I'm trying to remember what happened. It wasn't a very interesting day. It was just kind of a normal school day with not a lot going on because, most of the seniors were gone. um, Thursday was kind of the same way. It's just a school day without the seniors there, so not much happened.
So it was a quiet
And
day.
then Friday, yeah, quiet day. And then Friday, we had a snow day somehow, which was very unexpected. But a pleasant surprise, of course.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I stayed home all day.
That's always
I
fun.
watched I watched the new season of Arcane, which is a Netflix series that I love, and I know I'm not alone in that because I don't know if it still
I
is, but it was for a long time the number two most popular show on Netflix. So that's pretty
I
cool.
recently listened to Charlie talk about it.
Hmm.
Charlie made it.
Yeah, it's a
Uh,
great show.
I haven't gotten around to see it yet. I've heard very good things though.
Mhm. I will say it's definitely not for everyone. So you've been warned on that account.
Yeah. No, I like things that are not for everyone. Clearly, dude. I love Concave and I love
Mhm,
Kinds of Kindness. Dude, Kinds of Kindness. 90%
mhm,
of people are gonna hate Kinds of Kindness. That movie's great.
mhm. I
Um,
I mean I just think like Arcane is very easy to find cringe if you're not into it.
that's fair. I can
It's
understand it.
it is a little bit edgy. I'm not gonna lie. There's quite a bit of edginess to it, but I
Well,
still like it anyways, and a lot of other people think the same.
nah, and that's fair though.
It is also based off of a game that gets a lot of hate, but
Hey,
I will say you don't have to know anything about the game or even care about the game at all to appreciate the show. So don't worry about that.
I
If
always
that's a
appreciate
concern
that.
for you and you want to.
Yeah. No, that is always appreciated too. And I always like when things break the curse of video game adaptations because they usually don't have a very good reputation. They don't have a good reputation. I don't know what it is about. And honestly, I feel cringe talking about it myself because I'm pretty sure after the Super Mario Bros. Movie and The Last of Us that no one should ever talk about the video game adaptation curse again. Those two things were excellent. No need to bring it up anymore. And so I always like seeing more that breaks that curse.
Hmm. I mean, honestly, I don't know anything about the game. I just know that it's very controversial in the gaming community. Um, The game being League of Legends, if it wasn't
Ah, League of
clear
Legends is
already.
one of those
But
games that
it really does feel like its own thing.
right, and that's always cool too. And I've heard very similar things as far as like being its own thing. Weirdly, with the new Pain one, dude, I've heard some very good things about the Pain one. I haven't gotten around to it yet though. But no, I will definitely. I do want to check out Arcane. I've heard very good things. I just haven't sat down and like watched it yet.
Mhm.
I definitely have
Um,
to.
it will take a while. It's it will take a while. It's quite long, but
That's what she said.
oh my goodness. I think each of the episodes are about 40 minutes long, and there's
Whoo,
18 of them, so
whoo. That's a
it might be hard to watch all in one day.
yeah, that's a process right there. See, I'm used to
But I
watching.
actually think it's
Sorry,
no, go no, you go ahead.
I was saying I'm used to watching The Office. It's 23 minutes per episode. Yep,
Right.
I'm spoiled.
Um, I will say it's quite cool the way they did it. It's sort of like they have it so each little part of the story is divided into like 3 episodes, so you can really just sit down and watch 3 episodes at a time if you want to, and
That's
it'll
cool.
make complete coherent sense.
That's cool. I always I appreciate writing like that.
hmm So there is like 6 main parts to the story that are currently out.
Fair enough. Am I in your way?
No, you're good. I will say, if you're going to watch it, it is very important that you watch the first 3 episodes first. And
Okay.
I mean, that generally goes without saying, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you need to know that lore, or else it does not make sense.
Fair enough. No, and I'm looking at now. You mentioned edgy, and I was thinking something very much different. But it's rated TV 14, so
hmm
there's only
No,
so much they can do.
right.
Also, sorry to interrupt you, but I see
It's
that.
look it.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I will say it's more of like edgy in like the rebellious teen way, as opposed
Oh,
to
oh yeah.
other things.
I do see that Haley Steinfeld is one of the main cast members.
Hmm.
Dude, she's great. She is a goddess. I'm fairly convinced that she's a goddess. Um, if you don't know, she voices Gwen in the Spider Verse movies, and she's just a great actor. She was in True Grit at like 12 years old and nearly got nominated for an Oscar. It's great. She's amazing. I'm not a fanboy, and you are, and I'm gonna shut up now before I sound like a weirdo.
I will say also, if you didn't know, it is animated.
Oh yes,
But
I
oh my
actually.
god, is it cool? The animation is so cool. It's genuinely really well
If
done.
the animation is done well and it honestly adds to the story, I am all for it.
Yeah, it is quite unique the way the animation's done, at least in my opinion.
So from the brief thumbnails that I am seeing, I'm not gonna lie, I weirdly get Gorillas vibes. I don't know why.
Yeah, actually, yeah, for sure.
It's
I totally see where you're coming from.
I just see that, and the first thing that popped in my head was the Gorillas.
No, the art style is actually quite similar. I do see that.
I do think what I'm looking at right now is more detailed than the Gorillas because, well, the Gorillas are a character, but you know,
hmm
yeah. Also, apparently, it's an Emmy winning TV show.
Yes, it is.
Interesting, interesting. Now I'm excited to watch it. Also, from the very brief thing that I'm just seeing from the trailer that it's showing, it's like
hmm
this weird elevator scene. That I promise you, that is 115,000% a reference to The Shining. The way that they, the way that they laid out those elevators, there ain't no way that ain't a reference to The Shining. I'm sorry, there ain't no
Oh
way.
my god, I feel like I have to go back and watch it the first season now because I don't remember that.
It's just like in the trailer that Netflix is trying to show me that I'm not trying to watch because I'm trying to go in empty-handed.
Right. Elevators.
Yeah, I'm just telling you, it looks very much like a reference to The Shining. I'm a Shining
Hmm.
fanboy. That's just who I am.
I'm
The
totally gonna go back and rewatch season one because I feel like I'm misremembering things now.
yo. If I watch it, hopefully soon, we should just do a whole episode and just talk about that one TV show.
We could.
For real, for real. I listened
There's
to
definitely a lot to talk about.
right. I mean, there's 2 seasons and they're like 40 minutes long, and there's 18 episodes.
Hmm.
That's a lot. um,
And I don't actually know this for certain. It's just made it seem this way. I'm not actually sure if there's going to be another season.
Interesting.
But the ending to season two, I don't want to spoil too much, right?
Right, right, right.
It's not the most conclusive thing ever,
Ah,
but it does
interesting.
end with something saying the end. So I don't know. There might be a lot to talk about there.
Yeah, for real. When you talk about like cliffhangers or just endings of TV shows, and I don't want to spoil. There's a TV show called The Last Man on Earth that I've seen a couple times in my lifetime, like through its entirety. I just love that show. I just think it's great. Um, if you ever have the chance to sit down and watch it, it's really funny. And you get to the end of the last season, and they very much have this huge thing that happens, and it ends the season, and you're like, okay, well, I can't wait for next season, and yeah, it got canceled. Dude, that is so
Oh no,
dude, that is so irritating, dog. Like,
that's horrible.
dude, sometimes studios just need to chill. Like, okay, if it's just simply not getting watched at all, cancel it. Like recently, Disney canceled their that one Star Wars TV show because no
Mhm.
one was watching it, or people were watching it, they just hated it. Apparently, they canceled it. That makes sense, but don't cancel a show that's doing well. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Oh my god, I I I got so pissed off when I mean they didn't like full cancel it, but like they cut it short when Disney cut off the Owl House because
oh yeah,
people really liked that show. People really liked it,
yeah, no,
and then the last season they forced to only be 3 episodes because they
wow,
didn't like it.
wow, no, it
And to be fair, they were pushing a controversial topic, but it's one that shouldn't be controversial and very much should be supported by everyone in
now I
this day and
want
age.
to
So,
now I want to know what it is. Now I'm lost.
um, well, it's just like LGBTQ
Oh,
stuff,
oh, but yeah, no, that's like
and
it's 2024.
yeah, right. But it's new for Disney to be experiencing that thing,
Well, Disney like is
and
known for that kind of stuff, though.
nowadays they are. This is why it was so interesting to me, and I do believe, like, there was a lot of speculation around that being the thing, and it might not have actually been the actual thing. I do believe like the real reason was because the target audience was trending a lot older than they anticipated, and they didn't like that, so
What if it's getting
that's
watched?
why they
Then like
stopped.
what when why does it matter?
Yeah, it shouldn't matter, right?
Not,
It was supposed to be for like younger kids, and then it started trending a lot like older teens and young adults, and they were like, "Well, I don't know about that." And the writers were fine with it. The writers were totally cool with it, and you could see that they were, starting to tailor more towards that. But
yeah.
Disney didn't like it for some reason. So,
So
oh well.
here's the thing about Disney. They've made some great things, and I'm not gonna sit here and act like they haven't. But in recent memory, not only are they very much trigger happy with the red button that they always have on their desk for canceling things, recently being putting it off indefinitely. The new Blade movie, that's the most recent thing to my knowledge. They put it off indefinitely. And that But anytime they go to make a film, they have one thing in mind. It's not passion. It's not wanting people to get these new opportunities for filmmakers. It's money. And if in their head, the literally today, as we're speaking today, November 27th, Moana 2 was released.
Mhm.
Tell me that Moana 2 needed to exist. I haven't even seen it yet, and I can tell you right now, it was unneeded. I can tell you that for certain right now. um, and so when they actually have something good though, like you're talking about, it seems like they just throw it away because it may not be making as much money as something bigger may have, and it's just irritating.
Yeah.
Like they just
I'm,
announced. Oh, sorry.
well, I was gonna say I'm not gonna lie to you, and I don't want to like throw shade before I actually experience it. I am very hesitant to watch Moana 2.
Oh, me too. I love Moana 1. I'll be the first to admit it. I love it.
Oh, I think it's good. Yeah,
I don't want to watch Moana 2. I don't.
I don't either. I feel like I should, but I don't want to. It's
Well, in my perspective, I want to review it and all that, but I'm going in with low expectations. I'm also
Mhm.
I literally
Me too.
I pretty much have tickets to go watch Wicked, and I'm going in with low
Mhm.
expectations to that. But I've heard pretty good things, so hopefully it's good.
Mhm.
But also Netflix, Disney just announced 3 more Star Wars episodes.
Oh,
Money, money, money.
okay. Yeah, money.
Yeah,
Ugh.
because currently and probably will forever be, The Force Awakens is the fifth highest grossing movie of all time. Think about that.
Wow.
Yeah. So they know what's gonna make money. They know. They know. I think Frozen 2 is in the top 10 too. I don't know why. I don't like Frozen 2. Frozen 1 is suitable. It's fine. It's annoying because well I've heard those songs and they're drilled into my brain. But yeah. Anyway, where do they even take 3 more Star Wars episodes anyway? What is there to do?
Yeah,
I
I feel like
have you
they
have you have you
ended
seen
it. No? Oh,
have, have you seen the newest trilogy,
I have. Yes.
including Rise of Skywalker?
Yeah.
I hate Rise of Skywalker with a passion. It to me, it's complete and utter garbage. I'm sorry if you like it. That's all good. I do not like that movie.
I mean, I didn't think it was the worst thing ever, but I definitely like the older movies more.
Yeah. Okay. I find it suitable. I found it suitable, and then they kissed, and then it was no bad, horrible,
Yeah,
garbage. What are you doing to me? Um. Honestly, I find most of the
that was weird. That was very weird.
yeah.
It's a strange decision. I will
I
agree with that.
I find most of the prequels better than that one. I'm not gonna lie to you. I find most of the prequels better than that. Return or what was it? Attack on the Clones. Jar Jar Binks is infinitely better than any character in that last one. I'm sorry. Also,
For me personally, oh,
go ahead, go ahead.
this isn't like specifically about the movie we were just talking about, but just all movies in general. I don't know why. I find it very hard to dislike any movie, and I cannot explain it.
Um, that's completely understandable. I just always have to look at it from a critical standpoint. That's just my brain.
Mhm.
I will
Right.
say one of the movies in recent memory, and I have gone back and given a second try, and I'm slightly, excuse me, I'm slightly convicted with myself at the moment, but that's being Joker 2. I don't know
Mhm.
if you've heard any of the news lines about Joker 2, but
I haven't.
Not good.
Mm.
Both Rotten Tomatoes. It's actually a tie right now for the audience score and the critic score on Rotten Tomatoes. They're both at 32%. That's not
Oh
good.
dear. That's not good at all.
No, it's quite awful. Um, and here's the thing. Do you care if I go slightly into spoilers as far as
No,
Joker
go
2 goes?
for it.
Again, if you want to see Joker 2, there is some good about it, and I'm about to get into it, but just go watch a Joker 2, skip the next couple minutes, whatever. Doesn't matter. My biggest problem with Joker 2, and this still stands, it's actually two things in particular. It's that, why am I inside of you? Um,
A.
um, number one, 90% of that runtime, and in real life as a whole, he isn't Joker. He's literally Arthur Fleck the entire time. He is Joker in his head for brief 4 minute long musical scenes that all take place in his head. Other than that, he just isn't Joker. Sorry, there's a horrible amount of
Mm.
creepers over here. Um, and the ending of the film, and I'm sorry to spoil all this for you. Um,
I like won't watch it. I'm not gonna lie.
um, in the end, also, um, someone just straight up shanks Joker, and he just dies on the ground, and the film just ends like that.
Wow.
Excuse me? Why?
What's
And then the director had the audacity, and don't get me wrong, Todd Phillips directed it, and he's done some great things. I love the first Joker film. The Hangover is one of the best comedy movies of all time. But the man literally said on opening day he isolated himself on a farm, and then he seconded that statement by saying Arthur Fleck was never Joker, he was just Arthur Fleck. What are you doing to me,
what?
man? What are you doing to me, dog? And I get where he's going because also at the end of this film, when he's getting shanked, there's someone in the background with the shank cutting the edges of his mouth with it,
Hmm.
insinuating or assuming that okay, so he's the Joker. Excuse me,
Mm-hmm.
what are you doing? Why?
That's
Why?
huh.
Also, the fact that he even attempted to make a reference to Heath Ledger's Joker. Dog, why? Dude, you had such a good standalone Joker, too. Like, Heath Ledger's Joker has the cuts, has the scars on his mouth. Lord knows why. He never actually told us the real reason, I don't believe, in The Dark Knight. I don't remember. But I don't know, man. It's an upsetting film. I'm sorry for going on a ramble about Joker, too.
It's
Um,
okay.
there's also a really awkward sex scene in a jail cell with Lady Gaga. Don't know why that was needed.
Oh.
Okay, here's the thing. If it adds to the plot and if there's some kind of importance, great. Show it. Show all of it. I don't care. But in what form did that connect to the plot? Like, why was that needed?
Hmm.
Dog, why are you doing this to me? Here's the thing Oppenheimer has that, but it's integral to the plot for who Oppenheimer was as a man. He was a womanizer, right?
Hmm.
So you want to show and emphasize how he was a womanizer. How is one way that you emphasize that? Bingo, there you go.
Hmm.
I don't know. I'm gonna stop rambling about random movie things because that's not why people are here. But no, Disney's a very interesting studio that has made such questionable decisions the past like 15 years of their company.
Hmm.
They announced Toy Story 5 like a month ago. Thank you for that.
Yeah. What? Why? Why?
Okay,
Seriously?
Toy Story 4 was good. It was suitable. but the original trilogy is just untouchable.
Hmm.
Toy Story 3 is my personal favorite. That movie traumatized me as a kid. I can't watch that movie without bawling my eyes out. I just can't. I'm weird. Anyway, sorry that you weren't very active in this episode. That's very much my fault.
You know
Um,
what? It is okay. It is okay.
I just had a lot to go over as far as the senior trip goes. I just really wanted to tell it on the podcast.
Mhm.
I hope that it was
All right.
enjoyable to some. Um, what do you say we call for this week? How do we feel about that?
I say that sounds like a plan.
I think it was a good episode. I think it was
I
fun.
think so too. Yeah.
Hey, there's always next week and the week after that. Something very special is going to be happening. We'll get to it when we get to it.
Mhm.
Thank you guys so much for listening to the Just Friends Chanting podcast. Stay tuned for another week and another episode coming soon. This has been your host, Axel, and the other guy, the more of the goat, the better person, the individual.
No.
Yes, that being Kylan. Find our social medias. They're pretty much self explanatory. Follow us on there. And like and subscribe. Is there anything you want to say before I hit the end button?
Um, I would like to say that Axel is way cooler than he thinks he is, and needs to
No.
stop being down on himself. That's what I think.
Don't listen to him. Peace out, like and subscribe. Boom.